In the tapestry of life, where every thread holds a story, America in Black and White emerges as a haven for the voices echoing through the heart of our communities. In this podcast, we wade through the rivers of our collective experiences, celebrating the vibrant hues of change brought forth by the whispers of hope and the roars of action. It's more than just a conversation. It's a journey into the heart of our society, illuminated by the light of those daring to dream and do. Join us, and let your voice be the melody that guides us toward a dawn where every color finds its place in the masterpiece of our shared destiny. Together, let's paint a future brimming with the positives that dwell in our minds and the actions that shape our world.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of America in Black and White, where we are coloring conversations on the canvas of America. Tonight, our special guest is Miss Netta Reeds. Netta Reeds is a dynamic voice in contemporary literature and cultural commentary, known for her fearless storytelling and unapologetic advocacy for truth, justice, and representation. As an author, speaker, and thought leader, Netta has carved out a space where Black narratives are not only heard, but deeply felt. Her work spans genres, from poignant essays and riveting fiction to sharp social critiques, all rooted in a commitment to amplify marginalized voices. Netta's writings is infused with raw honesty, historical insight, and a poetic cadence that challenges readers to confront uncomfortable truths while embracing the beauty of resilience. Beyond the page, Netta is a passionate educator and community builder, frequently engaging in public dialogues that explore race, identity, and the power of storytelling. Her impact reaches far beyond the literary world, inspiring a new generation to read critically, think deeply, and speak boldly. Tonight, she joins America in Black and White to share her journey, her work, and her vision for a more inclusive literary landscape. Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Netta Reeds.
Hello, how are you doing today?
Hello, how are you?
I'm grateful to be here today, and thank you so much for inviting me to be on this show here today. I am absolutely open, and I'm going to learn a lot and want to speak about a lot of things here as well. So, hey, let's get this show moving forward, and thank you once again, Mr. King. I appreciate you.
Oh, yes. Would you like to add anything to your bio before we get into the show?
So I would like to let people know that I am the founder of Netta Vibes. And here at Netta Vibes, what I do is I create transformational content. And this is content that is meant to help empower you, help you to reach your potential, help you to move forward here. And it can go far as, just business coaching, personal coaching, just the momentum and just making sure that you can actually take advantage of those baby steps and turn those baby steps into even larger steps for yourself. And I have products that I create to kind of help you understand not only your direction, but understand your power and your inner awareness as well, too.
So as we get into the show, well, this is what I want to start with. I want to start with your entrepreneurial journey. And can you tell us what inspired you to become an entrepreneur?
Well, I would definitely go into, as a child, back in those days, we didn't have a lot of that empowerment type of voice feel in our community. You know what I mean? It was there, but it was not, if you went to school, maybe you got it from your teachers, and maybe there were some parents, but a lot of our parents didn't have that empowerment of awareness themselves. So that as children, we didn't get a lot of that. Okay. So one of the things that I wanted to be able to do is provide my generation with some of the resources that I did not necessarily have when I was coming up. Because if I had access to, being able to understand not only my inner empowerment, but how do I access that potential? How do I move that potential forward? Because, education continues on outside of the schoolhouse. And then our parents can only to teach us what they know and what they learn. So just
Right.
being able to kind of create some resources that kind of give our community that larger aspects of having access to things that will allow them to continue to move forward and also educate themselves on this personal journey. So
Mm.
that is what inspired me.
So, how do you transition from writer to businesswoman?
Okay, so it really did. It started off as just doing little simple things like journaling. Okay, you just doing your own simple journaling. So it started off as that, just taking little section notes, and then it started off with me just journaling on my computer. And then I noticed that me journaling allowed me to be able to understand my own voice. And so once I was able to identify my own personality through my own voice, that turned into something even more powerful, like creating content and speaking and acknowledging that potential and understanding that potential and just taking that potential in a way to where I can actually share my gift with other people. And that is what allowed me to kind of, be on this journey of a content creator. And now I have expanded from being a content creator into a business woman to where I actually create digital content to help people as well, reach that level, because a lot of times we lag, and we lag because we may have the idea, right, but we may not have the solution to get there. So what I am trying to put there for people to have and reach is the solution to actually get there, because you can still write that first book, you can still write that first blog, you can still do that first podcast, you can still, open that first business. Just start off small. Don't give yourself too many ideas at one time. Give yourself one idea and then watch that idea flourish into something else. But what you want to make sure you have there is the potential that's going to empower you to understand that, hey, everybody falls. Everybody falls in life, but it's not about falling. The most important destination is about getting up. And we just want to make sure that people have the resources to get up in whatever area of your life you are in. It don't matter if you are 19, 20, 30, 40, 50. If there's something that you want to do to encourage your family, to encourage your community, there is things that you can do. Those ideals that you've had on your mind for 5, 10, 20 years, you can actually take those ideals and you can start right here, right now. And the only thing we're looking for now is the solution, because you got the idea. If we got the solution, then we can go ahead and start getting those steps fulfilled.
Well, I can say this. I do know that you are definitely a beautiful writer. That I
Thank
do
you.
know.
Thank you.
And can you tell us, like, what is the power that you find in the words when writing, when you're actually putting your content out? What is the power in the words? And why is that so important to you?
To me, the power in your words is actually knowing yourself. Okay, because when you can self-identify, you're better at being genuine. You're better at being authentic, and you're better at expressing, your true intention. You're better at exploring in a way to where it nurtures not only yourself but it nurtures your community. And any work that you do is going to nurture that. So self-identity is very important when it comes to writing content. You have to be able to self-identify with yourself, because when you're writing in or reading, you have to use discernment. You want to be able to use discernment. So one of the things that I know for me is that I love to focus on growth. Okay, so by focusing on growth, just being conscious, in your work, being conscious in your writing, because you want to make sure that when you're writing or if you're speaking, there's personality there. We want to meet you through your work. We want to meet you through your voice. We want to meet you through your energy. You understand? So that's very important for me. And hey, that is something that I love. That is what encourages me to continue to grow and to nourish myself, because I am still self-identifying. But here's the thing: I'm halfway through the job. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Because growth never stops for nobody. We
There
it's
you go.
just gonna keep going. So, you know, so I'm at that point in my life to where I am still learning and I am taking those things that I am actually learning in my life, and I am doing my best to share what I can as well through my work, to give other people their opportunity to take our learning experiences as a gift. And not only as a gift, we can turn those gifts into talents, into skills. But we just want to make sure that we are as authentic as we possibly can be, because even when we preach and we speak and we teach about this self journey, you can never leave yourself out of it. You got to go and grow with everybody that you're sharing your gifts with, that you're sharing your content with, that you're sharing your talent with. You got to go and grow with everyone. This is not, so everybody's journey is unique, but you want to make sure that because if you are experiencing, and if you are growing, and if you are making those transformational moments for yourself in your life, the better you are to even teach or speak or even learn and understand what that momentum means when it comes to, that knowledge is power. And not only is knowledge power, but your personal journey that you have within yourself is this knowledge that you're going to make sure that you are aware of when it comes to being self-aware, because you want to make sure that you are as well allowing this journey to be a purpose, not only for your family and your friends and your community, but you're taking this as your own spiritual understanding to reach your highest awareness of your potential for you, so that you can continue to give back to your family, your friends, and your community.
You mentioned one term that actually stuck out to me, and you said it more than one time, and it's so much key because the thing is like I'm listening to you and I understand that expansion, but tell us why the term growth.
Because growth is what is going to allow you to understand what change means. Okay. So everybody grows at their own pace, and I respect that, I understand that. But when you give up, then that's where the fear comes in, that's where the doubt comes in, that's where the misalignment comes in. But if you are someone who believes in faith, understand faith is actually a growth potential. It is a belief of potential, and understanding your concept of your faith. That is growth alone. So what you want to be able to do is just make sure that you open yourself up to grow. We're not forcing you to grow. I'm not, nobody is forcing me to grow, because growth, it needs to be at their own unique individual person's pace, so that whatever lessons that they are needed to learn, or whatever lessons I am needed to learn, I can actually learn those lessons. You know what I mean? Because if I'm forced to learn those lessons, and I might forget everything I learned. You understand? So, but if I can learn at my pace, I am better to adapt consciously, mentally, and spiritually. So, what is your pace? Now, this is where you want to make sure when we think about what growth is. What areas in your life that you know that you need help, and you can confess and say you need help in those areas. If you can identify any one area in your life that you can say, okay, I know I need help here, and I know I need help here, that's growth. Okay. Because
Mm.
first it takes you to acknowledge where you need to grow. And once you can actually acknowledge where you need to grow, then you've just opened a door for yourself. And whatever needs to happen to trigger that growth in you, it's going to happen in the best way, because now you are aligning to truth. You are aligning to that understanding that's going to bring you that growth and bring you the resources that you need to make sure that that growth actually happens for you.
So, what were the biggest challenges you faced starting your own brand?
So I'm gonna tell you something. Um, when you first start off, literally starting your own business, you're a solo artist. You are doing everything yourself. You can't
Yeah.
even buy time no more. You can't buy no
Mhm.
more. You're doing everything yourself. So even if you are, you're working, or you're going to school, or you're a mom, or you're a dad, and all this is time, you got to start your own business. Now that's even more time. So the energy that it takes to start your own business is very time consuming. I will absolutely say it. A lot of people don't receive the credit that they should be receiving when it comes to starting your own business, because it takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of energy. But I'm going to tell you something. If you're dedicated to your work, if you see purpose in your work, if you see a gift in your work, if you see yourself in your work, you're going to make time to get your work done. And not only are you going to influence those people that you are trying to reach, but you're going to be able to influence your own identity, your own potential. Because one of the toughest things for me was just doing it all by myself. But once I realized that I ain't got to do this all by myself, I can, trust some people, and I can
Mhm.
get to know some people who may identify with the work that I am doing, and allow them to advise me and mentor me. Because I'm gonna tell you, I don't care how much money you make, everybody needs a mentor. You understand me? I don't care what grounds you come from, everybody needs a mentor. Even mentor has mentors. When I found that out, I was like, woo, I ain't alone. So God, that is good. Yes. So yes, even mentors has mentors. So it's very important when you're starting your own business. Yeah, focus on that business. See where you want your personal brand to go. But do remember that if you're gonna do this yourself, understand the energy that it takes, and you still have your entire life to live. So you want to make sure that if there's ways that you can get other people who is going to help mentor you and help make sure that you're ready for this, be sure and make sure that you're open to receive that very authentic and valuable advice. Because what's going to happen is it's going to take those 8 hours a day. For me, it did. I was working on my business 8 hours a day, and when I learned that there's things that I can do to kind of help me time consume, but I had to come out of a box. I had to trust people. I had to get out. You got to trust people with but you trust the right people with your brand, because your brand is your responsibility. Your business is your responsibility. And you don't just put that in everybody's hands. You only put that in hands who you treat it like a job, like you're hiring somebody when it comes to involving someone into your business. You got to treat it like that, because you are actually bringing someone on board for you. And at this point, you're the founder, you're the CEO, you're everything that business need right now to scale and grow. So you just want to make sure that you just use discernment when you are reaching out. But I will always tell anyone, when it comes to creating your own business, absolutely, it is absolutely worth it. If it's something that you want to do, and you know that you have a gift that you want to share with people, maybe there's something that you've been thinking about you want to do for years or maybe months, and you just want to get it off the ground, start somewhere. And as your business grow, believe me, by just intuition, you're going to know when it's time to bring someone else in to actually help you, and you're going to be able to put them in the right place here for you, and it's going to save you time and also save them time as well.
So, how do you define success in your entrepreneurial journey?
That's a great question. Okay, so I'm gonna be very honest with you. When I look at success, I don't look at a monetary value. When I look
Mhm.
at success, I look at mindfulness. You hear me? Mindfulness. Because as
Yes.
mindfulness grows, your success grows. You
Yes.
understand me?
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. So success is someone
Mhm.
can who's mindful. You're mindful, because that's pure wealth. Everybody don't have that. You understand me? Because when you are mindful, I mean, you have the ability to do so many things with your life. You have the ability to be grateful for things. You have the ability to help people, when you need to. You have the ability to self motivate. You have the ability to empower. You have the ability to understand your own self awareness. You have the ability to be sure here that you are taking care of yourself, caring your needs. So mindfulness is success to me. So yeah.
Now I noticed, and I guess for those that might not be following you, is that that's one of the things that you do throughout the week, where you put out the mindfulness in
Yes.
your newsletter. And
Yes.
so, I've had those classes before,
Mhm.
but I like your vibe and how you actually, how you incorporate that. Can you tell us, what is it about mindfulness that you find to be so great for the spirit and the soul?
So I love that that you would say that. Okay, so since we are spirit beings first, That's
Mhm.
mindfulness itself, okay? Because the spirit is mindfulness. Is a unique understanding of your own spirituality. So, what's important for mindfulness when it comes to the spirit is because you would never have to worry about um not being connected to something greater, or something of greater empowerment, or something of a greater understanding, or a greater self-awareness. So when it comes to mindfulness and the importance of it, it allows you to have that freedom within yourself. Okay, and that is very important. A lot of people are locked within. They don't know how to explore their spiritual understanding. But when you have mindfulness, baby, it's comfortable to be there. It's comfortable to learn your personal growth. It's comfortable to be self-aware. It's comfortable to know that you have intuition, and it is a gift gifted to you through your mindfulness. So it is absolutely important to understand that mindfulness is most definitely important for your own spiritual growth, because of your spiritual growth, it is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 steps ahead of your physical growth. Because since you are a spiritual being first, you have to understand, before you set goals for your physical presence or your skills or your talents, you must understand that the spirit is absolutely always present, and it is present through that self-awareness and your mindfulness that you presented.
What advice would you give to aspiring Black entrepreneurs?
You are worthy. Everything that you know that you are, when it comes to your internal um, empowerment, your understanding of who you are and how important you are in this entire existence. You are important. So my message to you is to understand that everything that you are seeking, you it is actually already there in you. So if you're seeking that self-encouragement, if you're seeking that self-empowerment, if you're trying to understand what is your place, what is your purpose in this life, what can I do to help my people? What can I do to help my Black community? In fact, what can I do to help my humanity? You already have the gift already there inside of you. The only thing that you have to do now is actually agree with it. You are important. You are worthy. I'm not worried about how big the steps is. I'm only wanting you to know that you have a step that you need to take. And if you want to make a difference in your community right now, there's baby steps in every idea, in every flourish, in all your potential. There's baby steps. The only thing you have to do is just to find that solution. What do you want to do? How do you want to give back? Okay, how do you want to? I mean, because you can go knock on your neighbor's door and ask your neighbor, can I, cut your yard? It don't even have to, you don't have to go start a big brand business down the street. You can go, the community is important. And we know how important community is, but it is this. What do you want to do in your life? Because if there's something that you want to do and you want to give back, and they say when you give, you do receive. And when you give, you're able to receive. And when you give and you give and you give, those are still your blessings every time. Okay. So if you are inspired to do something in your life or to make a difference, hey, it starts very small, very small. And the only thing it takes is just you to be able to self-empower yourself, and you go ahead and you start small.
How do you balance creativity with business strategy?
Um, I would say this, as any business entrepreneur, your creativity is very important, because I think people actually connect through creativity. Okay, that is how we connect as a people, as an environment. So we need creativity. If we don't have creativity, we ain't got people. So that is our own authentic voice as a human species. That is ours. That is our gift. That is our talent. That is our skill. Because creativity actually That is the human spirit. You see the human spirit in creativity every time. So it is very important to be able to understand that, when it comes to creativity and how you connect it to your business, you be yourself, okay? Because listen, when you're yourself, it's hard to be someone else. And when you're yourself, you're most. This is when you're most authentic, and this is when you're most creative as well. So your creativity, and you input that into any business idea that you find, determined to do and to invest your energy into, and you add it to your creativity. Oh my God! I mean, the sky is the limit on what you create. Actually, it's not. It's so bigger than that. So our creativity does play a very huge part in our businesses. Okay.
So, what role does storytelling play in your brand identity?
And that's a really good question. Um, so for me, when it comes to storytelling, because I do write a lot of content, and I like to be able to, not only focus on one subject, I like to focus on many different subjects. So one of the important things that is important to me when it comes to storytelling is just being able to inspire. Okay. Um, because I know how important to be inspired is. Just being able to, again, storytelling for me feels like, um, just being, just presenting your personality through your work. I like to skill build a lot. So I'm going to talk about a lot of different things, but a lot of my stories are going to be on transformational work or empowerment. I'm very heavy about empowerment. I just know how important it is, for us as a community. Um, and I just feel like when it comes to storytelling, just being able to, express yourself, through any topic that comes in front of you. So for me, um, I like to be very genuine about anything I talk about. If I do go into, I'm trying to make sure that I relate this question absolutely correctly, because for me, it does take you to understand your own authentic self. So when it comes to storytelling for me, I mean, I just feel like you just write what's on your mind, write what's on your heart, be genuine about it, you know what I mean? And anything that needs to come out, anything you need to express, it's going to come out through that storytelling. So, yeah.
So, have you faced any unique obstacles as a Black woman entrepreneur?
Well, everybody has. Absolutely. One of the things that I find that the Black community lacks here in our community is the resources that Black women have access to. Um, and that is, like, I know that there should be other things out here made available, because here's the thing. The world has changed a lot. AI is advancing. And as a people, we have got to keep up. Okay. We have got to keep up, because we have to understand that we are actually stirring the wheel.
Yep.
And if we are stirring the wheel, and if we know that our people are already very intelligent, very skillful, you know, and we understand that we are the conscious minds behind all of this, then whatever resources that we need to be sure that we can continue to thrive and stir the wheel, those resources need to be put out there. And Black women entrepreneurs are on the rise. And since we know that Black women entrepreneurs are on the rise, we want to support that. We want to promote that, because in long term, we are going to benefit from that. You know what I mean? And yes, the Black people are going to benefit from that, but I'm talking about women, period. We will benefit from that. So we want the resources to be there for us because we are a thriving species. You know, technology is only artificial, but we are so I mean, we want to make sure that those resources are there for our women, especially our Black women. So that's one of the obstacles that I feel like that as a Black woman in the community is what that is the obstacle, because it's not that we can't create those ideas and solutions. We can, absolutely we can. But when it comes to, you
Getting it
know,
out.
yeah, when it comes to how the resources are being divided amongst the community, listen, do we want to see our community, come on, thrive? That's the thing. Because if you want to see your community thrive, at this point, it's not about the money. That's why the resources should be there.
Ooh,
So,
there you
yes,
go. There you go. You said you couldn't have said that no better because you are so true.
yes,
And it's amazing that we're now here in the 21st century, and our communities are the ones that are still being gentrified all the way down to the bone.
mm-hmm,
And so, as most of us that are trying to fight to fix this, we have this thing where we lack the resources. A lot of us don't have the
yes,
monetary values in order to make this happen. But it's something, as you said, we got some people though sometimes that even a lot of skin folk that don't care to do that.
right,
So we still got to try. It don't mean
right,
that it's the end, because I
right.
love when you said about we are that consciousness, because that's true.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And if we want to see, our generation of people to thrive in this type of society, you know what I mean? We need to make sure that we are absolutely keeping up, as a consciousness. You hear me? Because we've heard of all the stories about, when our AI can get so powerful and it use that stirring control and what happens. Okay, so this is the reason why you want to make sure as a conscious being we have the resources in our community to not only keep up, but to continue to install that personal growth, to install that transformation, to speak about why it's important to be self-aware, to understand those ethics when it comes to artificial intelligence, because this is what's going to allow us to not only continue to lead as generations moving forward, but to continue to make sure that our generations are around for this. You know what I mean? Because we want to make sure that we do authentically co-create with our planet. You understand me? Like we do technology. So if we're going to co-create with our actual living planet, then we need to make sure whatever resources that we need to be sure that our environment is kept safe, to be sure that our species as a whole is kept safe and is still thriving. Those resources need to be there. Those resources need to be there in every area of the community, wherever there is a skill amongst the Black people, especially the women. Those need to be resources flourishing to make sure that we are absolutely doing the right things that we need to be doing as a conscious being.
So, what's one business decision that changed everything for you?
That's a great question. I didn't even expect you to ask that. Okay. So, what is one business decision that actually changed everything for me? Um, so I'm gonna be very honest about this. So, one of the things that changed everything, I mean, everything is digital now. Like
Yes.
that changed everything. Everything is digital. So it's like, whoa. And so when we look at that, okay, so what do we do with that? What do we do with digital? Because this is, even though I know it's been around for quite some time, you know what I mean, but we didn't have all of this back when I was a kid. We had real books. You sit back and read real books, you know. Okay, you didn't have phones. You had the road. We didn't take our phones with us. So everything is digital now. So
Yeah.
I'm like, that changes everything. For us. But you know what? Even though everything is getting digital, it does show to me that at some level we are absolutely growing. we are advancing. You know what I mean? So we do need to be prepared for that ethically. You know what I mean? Because if things are going digital, then that means that we have the ability to be sure that whatever resources that our community needs, whatever resources that these people are needing to create and flourish and do what we need to do as a responsibility because of our humanness, then these digital resources should make it a lot easier for us to be able to co-create and connect and collaborate, so those resources are going to those communities and going to those people and going to those organizations and going to those solo artists, so that we can make sure that we are being very mindful about the opportunities that we are creating for our people in this digital world.
You know, let me tell you something that's funny. So I'm gonna make you laugh.
Uh-huh.
Because you know, what you're saying is so absolutely true. But you know, like I still journal, right?
Okay.
And
Yes.
so I got to the point because everything is, yeah, as you say, is digital, right? So
Yes.
now I still have like, oh my God, I don't know how many journals. So I still like to write, right?
There you go.
So I found myself actually, you know, doing it and just creating an actual digital journal here on the computer, right?
Yeah.
And so just as doing that, you know, it didn't feel the same.
Right.
It did not feel the same. But when I
Right.
pull out my book and I start writing in that
Yes.
journal, I feel
Yes.
so much better and so much more
Right.
comfortable.
Yes.
What
Yes.
do you think is the difference in the times with that?
Because when you think we okay, so we we actually do have a very close connection with our planet, okay? From
Hmm.
birth, we have a very close connection with our environment. So when we're actually writing physically and using those hand moments and those reactions and all those things that happen within the cells, within the hands, you're actually co-creating like a friendship, not only with your body, but with your environment. So there's a real relationship happening, you know? So
Hmm.
you're able, you're the way you express is more open. The things that you need to get out, you're not closed out about it. You know, the things that you want to express, you know, they're there. All your problems come up on paper. I'm gonna tell
Yes.
you, if you're journaling, you get all your problems come up on paper because there's a relationship there. It's
Hmm.
almost like a therapeutic or counseling session that you are allowing yourself to build that friendship of that self awareness. So that physical contact is very important, you know, because
Hmm.
you are having a physical experience with your mind, body, and spirit. Now, when you flip it over to digital, that's different because now this is a whole new environment. Okay. Now you're not, now, see, like when you're writing on paper, you're actually, this is your authentic handwriting. This is your signature self. This is your energy. This is your confirmation of your own awareness of your identity. So when you're writing, when you're on a digital device and you're typing those things, and it feels different because it's like you're learning, you're typing something that's like you feel like you're behind the scene now. You know,
Yes.
now I gotta be behind because now the wordings may be yours and the feelings and the emotions may be there, but now there are certain texts. So now you kind of feel just a little bit disconnected from that because you have such a close relationship with being able to do this in a physical matter that actually builds on that natural organic self. Now we can learn to do this with digital. It's just going to take some time for us to become, you know, that self-aware. Because one thing about it, we know that artificial intelligence does not have a conscious mind. Yet
Right.
when you are writing, you are in authentic communication with your conscious mind through your entire self-awareness. By the way you write, how big you write, how small you write, what colors you write in, where you write at the top or the bottom of the page. But when you're journaling online, that is all artificial. Now you are the only conscious aspect behind it. So at this point, you're building, you're only building maybe a large language model with something artificial, and that may be quite new for you. But yet, one thing about digital journaling, it can teach you how to be mindful of your own ethics. So that's one thing I will say. It can teach you how to be mindful of your own ethics because you can become aware of when you digital journal online, you can actually become more social aware of how you communicate online throughout your whole entire personal entrepreneurial business aspects. You know what I mean? When
Mhm.
you journal online, because you get a chance to interact with yourself in a different manner now. Okay, so now you are more conscious of what you're doing online. Okay, because now you can see, okay, should I be here doing this, doing that, doing this, or should I be here on this social media site where I know this is not the type of things I should be doing, or on this content, or should I be here on this site here because I know it's going to teach me a little bit more. I get to learn a little bit more about myself, and I can also stay in contact with my family and my friends. So it's going to bring you a sense of self-awareness of being able to understand your actions that you are taking online when it comes to digital journaling. But when it comes to journaling in physical, that is your personal experience there. That is where you're actually growing, co-creating with your environment in a very authentic way, because you're fully there. Absolutely.
So, how do you stay motivated during setbacks?
Self empowerment. If I say self motivation, they're both the same thing. Self empowerment is very important. Um, you know, listen, nobody is perfect, but I'm going to say this: there is still something very perfect about you. Okay, there's still something very perfect about you. Um, when I look at being able to accept my flaws, and also accepting those things that I know that I appreciate and that is good, that I love about me, because you can't just accept the good and think you're gonna be all good, because that ain't how it works. It don't work. You ain't gonna personal grow nowhere with that, because now you think you're perfect and you got all the problems in the world, because nobody is perfect. So if you want to grow, you got to start in the middle. At least you ain't got to be the middle man, but you start in the middle with yourself. You be balanced with yourself. You accept yourself for the bad, for your mistakes. Then you accept yourself for the good, for your highest good. Because now what you're going to do is allow yourself to self communicate, self relate, self understand. And then you're going to open yourself up for forgiveness. When you can actually forgive yourself, when you have a setback, you ain't gonna be in doubt 2 3 weeks, 2 3 days. You may be down today, but the next day you're gonna be coming out of it, because you're gonna be accepting yourself. But if you thinking you're perfect and you don't have no wounds, or never had to deal with no trauma, or you're better than this person, oh boo boo, you got a lot of work to do, because you gotta be able to not only congratulate yourself, you got to be able to be mindfulness as well, that everybody has flaws. Everybody has been through something. Everybody has dealt with something. But on top of that, we have to understand it's going to always be progress over perfection. So that's why you want to make sure that you are understanding that balance with yourself. Because when you have a setback, you just want to make sure that your self-awareness, because your self-confidence is there.
So let's transition over to your content creation.
Yes.
So tell us, what platforms do you use to share your work and message?
Okay, so I like medium.com. I've been working with this site for maybe a year or two. I just love, it's just something about medium.com. It is self efficient. I like that. Now, I don't do a lot of content writing for Facebook, but I have done content. I'm sorry, I do still have a business page there, but I don't put a lot of my information on there, and I may change that over the next couple of months. I may go ahead and start expanding my audience there. But medium.com, I love LinkedIn as well. I also as well use Discord. Discord is pretty fairly new, but you have the potential here. If you were to get on Discord, it's almost scam free, so to speak. I don't know. It's just so much. Not. It's just so much that is. It's. I don't know. It feels like a cleaner environment if you can set up your Discord in the correct way, connect with the right people, the right groups there. Yeah, there's resources out there. So that was just a few of them that I have, and also Substack. I like to write on Substack as well, and that's always a pretty good one as well.
What are you on Substack? Because we need to connect there. I'm
Okay,
on Substack.
Netta. Now I just started them. Actually, I didn't even know about them, so it's just so much to learn. But it's so much to learn. Oh wow! But um, I appreciate that we are giving ourselves the chance and the opportunity to learn them. You know what I mean? Because you're
Yeah.
gonna always be rewarded when you're open to learning. You know what I mean? So hey, yes, Substack is one of them, and I like them absolutely.
I'm actually going to I'll be sending you a request later on
Okay,
this evening.
all right, and it's gonna be Netta Vibes. It's going to be my handle.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how do you decide what stories to tell online?
Now that's a very good question. Anything that's focused on consciousness, self awareness, entrepreneurship, personal growth, transformation. And I like to keep my writings very nurtured. You know what I mean? Because I don't like to be. I like to make sure my articles are balanced. So I like to, again, I know how important that balance is, so I like to keep that balance in there. Another thing that I love to be able to speak about is potential. I believe
Mhm.
everybody has potential, but again, it does start with you believing in yourself first. That is where the road is going to always start when it comes to getting the ideal out of there. You know what I mean? Moving forward with, because listen, we already all the tools that we need right now to build anything we want, to create anything. It's already there. Let me tell you something about consciousness aware. It's already there. Now you just got to self-believe. You got to be self-aware that you have a gift that will absolutely, that's not only needed in our community, but it's needed in our world, because we have everything that we need. We have everything that we lack nothing. You understand me? We lack nothing. So the only thing we have to do is just make sure that we are understanding that, just believing in yourself. And that's where their faith comes in at.
So what's your process for creating content that resonates?
And I love that. Um, I don't think spiritual growth is new for anybody. I think the only thing that is new about it is that you hear people talking about it more.
Mhm.
Okay, because we didn't hear a lot about spiritual growth. You know what I mean? Because we might have not quite understood exactly what it meant. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And then a lot of times when we speak about spiritual growth, we always spoke about it in a religious type way. Now we're stepping out of the box. We understand that we are
Right.
we ain't gotta be religious, but we understand that we have a spiritual aspect about ourselves. And I think people are connecting to that understanding now, because now we understand how important our spiritual growth is actually for us on our personal level. Because at
Mhm.
first we may have not thought about it and knew that it connected to us because we only saw it in the church house. But now we see that it exists outside of the church house. That's
Everywhere.
where the real work start.
Mhm.
So yeah, and I think now that is where, I like to kind of be in transformation between the two, physical understanding and their spiritual understanding, because what that does is allow people to understand that even though this is a spiritual experience that we are having in a human body, it is okay to focus your own growth. You know what I mean? It is okay to understand your own potential. It's okay to understand that you are a higher self. You know what I mean? You are a conscious mind. It is okay to know that. You know what I mean? It's okay to understand your impact, not only in your life, but with other people as well. And it's absolutely okay to understand that you walk around with energy 24 hours a day. So anytime I speak around my content, I like for it to be focused on the aspect of that creativity that's going to start from the inner side of you, allow you to see yourself in a bigger picture than how we do see.
So how do you handle criticism or pushback on social media?
So I defend myself, just being my authentic truth. That's how I do it. You know what I mean? Um, and I would be quite honest. Um, Now, a lot of times people respect the work that I do. I'm gonna tell you something. Creativity don't look no one way. if you got a gift, you got a skill, and you're doing something with it, and I know it, you know it's fabulous, baby. It's fabulous for me because I love that. I love to see people thriving. I love to see people glowing. I love to see people using their creation, their creativity. The more I can learn, the more I can offer. So I like to be able to explore people ideals and seeing how that self-identifies with me, because I know I got a gift too. And I know the more that I explore my ideas and my significance, that's going to give not only other people an idea or understanding or allow them to move into more of their gifts and their skills. But hey, self-empowerment is my way, and I don't mind learning from other people, and a lot of people don't mind learning from me, and that's where we want to be, because we're going to be able to, we ain't talking about speed, but what I'm talking about, we're going to be able to accomplish anything that we need to accomplish if we can accept that it's okay to learn from other people, because that's going to be our empowerment there. That is where, once we realize that we need each other to be able to understand that it's okay to be empowered and also empower people, then that's a gift within itself. That's a blessing.
What's one viral moment that surprised you?
Repeat that.
What's one viral moment that surprised you?
Okay, that's a good question as well. So, what's one viral moment? Uh, when I start seeing my idea come to life, when I actually started to see, my ideas that I started with, on paper, they just started as a small little point thought. And for me to actually take this time and invest in myself, and to be able to invest in other people as well, and to actually see this, come to fruition, I just knew that there was something more to my gift. You know what I mean? It allowed me to be grateful and to see that, if I can do this, you know what I mean? What else can I do? If I can do this, then, I am a very talented woman. I am very educated. I am, very thoughtful, and I am mindful. So they let me know that all of this already exists in my community. So I appreciate it all, because I feel like, just being able to take an idea and to and bring it up and to do something that I never thought I would do 20 years ago. And here I am doing this. Absolutely. It's a viral moment for me.
So, how do you maintain authenticity in a digital world?
Woo, I know that's right. Yes. Journaling. You hear me? Yes. You gotta listen. You can't lose yourself in this. You can't lose yourself in this. So journaling, like when you say that you would like to sit down and journal, man, there you go. Because as long as you got that connection with your environment, with yourself, oh my God, you're gonna be okay. You got some balance there. So that's one way that I actually stay kind of on top of everything, to make sure I don't get lost. Oh yes, there you go. Because that's gonna actually keep you in connect with your conscious, your subconscious mind, and that higher thought pattern. Building that relationship with yourself is so very important. Do you understand me? Absolutely. You know what? Everything that we think what a higher power is already sparks within you. You build on that relationship, because that's what's going to help you in this artificial digital expansion technology. Just creating, building a relationship with your self-awareness is going to be your highest intent.
Hmm. What's your favorite type of content to create?
Good. I like that one. So let's see. For me, anything that shows a strategic growth, anything that helps you inspire, anything that solves problems, transformational content. I like to engage in authentic content. I'm sorry, I like to engage in authentic content as well. So anything that focuses on growth, so those topics, and anything that kind of teaches people how to create something new. I like stuff where we can learn, you know what I mean? We can learn, because I like to also as well take what we already know and kind of expand it just a little bit more to allow you to see how important you already are in your self-awareness. So I may take a subject such as, like, consciousness, personal consciousness, or community consciousness. What is the important? How do you vibe with this? How do you reflect? How do you self-reflect, in your own personal life? How do you self-reflect in your community? So I may take a subject as simple as that, and I may expand on it. And I am expanding on it so that you can not only self-identify with who you are as an individual person, but you can self-identify with your own specific purpose in your community.
So, how do you use content to educate and empower?
Okay, so I just speak about some of the things that I already know. Again, I love to learn about my own spiritual growth. Okay, and again, it's not a religious aspect. The only thing it is just I am self growing from the inside out. Okay, you know what I mean? Because when you can self grow from the inside out, you're going to regain any momentum that you need to overcome anything physical, because you are actually learning from a higher purpose or a higher awareness, and that's going to prepare your journey. That's going to prepare you spiritually and mentally. Okay, because everybody falls. Again, the destination is getting up. Can you get up? Because if you can get up, then that is where we know the power really is, because that means that you're able to comprehend your own spiritual growth. So I like to be able to empower people from a spiritual understanding or spiritual networking. And this is also very important with artificial intelligence, uh, you know, expanding in the network that it has expanded. Because one of the things that we do bring to the table as being entrepreneurs, and having that conscious understanding behind how artificial intelligence work, that spiritual aspect that we have as a species is actually what's saving ourselves. It's saving ourselves because we have a spiritual understanding that we know that is, even though we are co-creators with artificial intelligence, we understand how we should be ethical when it comes to using such power in this type of world. And that spiritual aspect is what is allowing us to keep things in balance and comprehend and making sure that we're doing things in a safe manner, because artificial intelligence has expanded to points that no one actually expected it to be. And with that, we have to understand that as spirit beings, we are absolutely evolving. Absolutely evolving.
So, what's your take on the responsibility of influencers?
Know how important it is that when you are influencing, because everybody, we all influence each other, we do. One of the things that I will say that is very important to me is just that personal development. We just want to make sure that we are maintaining and containing that personal development. And again, it's not about being perfect, but it's about you being aware that this journey is also as well yours. Because when you understand that this journey is actually also yours, you're better to teach from that authentic self. You're better to teach and grow as well from that authentic self. And authenticity is only going to create that identifying aspect in our personal identifying selves within our community.
Well, good. Now, let me just say this, and you tell me how you feel about this, because I think when we talk about these influencers, I mean, it's like there's really no ethical value, there's no morality,
Has to be.
there's nothing that's sensical about what they're actually doing. For
Right.
them, it's all about I'm making money, and all you see is me. Look at me, and look at
Me,
me,
they
look at me.
can't. Yeah, we
And
can.
so when
Right.
people actually, you know, fall, I guess I'm going to say they're taken by this image that they're looking at. And so when they're putting out all these different things that they're putting out, and it's like, oh, they see themselves with this on or whatever have you. I think that in itself is, I mean, it's a thing, because this is what people do now to make money. And hey, that's what they do. But I mean, I would still think that if you're thinking about things from a moral compass, and
Yes.
there's a lot of people a lot of times can't afford a lot of those things,
Right.
but because they see them so much that they will put themselves out just to get that, only to realize maybe a few days, week later that, oh, I done made this mistake. So where are they gonna actually make up for this issue that they've created themselves? So in other words, I know that with those people that's doing that, and that's in this digital era,
Yeah.
it's not about morals, it's not about ethics and so forth. And so I'm just wondering, how do you feel about that, knowing that this is where that is?
So now, and you are absolutely correct. Some people do not consider morals, but here's the thing, though. You want to consider morals because you have to understand that this is still about your own personal growth. You don't want to hinder yourself. You know what I mean? You don't want to sell yourself here. What you're doing, you still want to make sure you are personally growing. You still want to make sure that you are actually using that moral attitude. And again, I ain't saying be perfect, but you still make sure that you keeping that identifying aspect open to your own source of your understanding of what higher awareness or higher, power is, because you want to make sure that you have that influence or to where you are as authentic as you can be, as your personal growth is flourishing. You don't want your personality to become artificial, because then what that's going to do, you know what I mean? Then you're going to get to a point to where you're going to feel like you've made all these big mistakes, or if you've made all these bad decisions because you didn't take time out to actually be conscious of what you were doing or how you were interacting with technology, when we know technology is only a tool. Even though we have these tools and these resources all around us, we still must understand this is still about our own personality. This is still about your spiritual growth. This is still about your ethical value. It is still about your moral understanding. You know what I mean? Because here's the thing, you know how they say that, money is and it's not even that. It's just that you have to make sure that you are staying on top of your own spiritual responsibilities, because as a spirit you have responsibility to make sure that you are still growing, you are still healing, you are still forgiving, you are still understanding, you are still being moral, and you are still growing. You are still growing, and this is what we want to make sure that is happening, because we still need each other advice in life. And the more people who are authentic about that, the more people we will be learning and are learning from when it comes to that. Because our artificial intelligence has almost taken on our entire environment on its own. You know what I mean? But you can't lose yourself in that and forget about your moral identity. You can't lose yourself in that and still know that you are still a spiritual mindset. You can't lose yourself in that and forget that you are ethical, you are moral. And again, you can be, listen, when you can understand creativity, look, there is so many million of ways to do things in the way that is good for you that you wouldn't believe it. So it's okay to be creative and expressive, but you just want to make sure that you are being conscious about your mindset and how you are perceiving to people.
Mhm. So how do you measure impact beyond likes and shares?
That's a really good question. How do I measure impact beyond likes and shares? So I guess the way I measure it is when people just message me and just say that message was very nice, or that touched me, or that related to me, or I appreciate that. So that's how I just measure it. I don't really just look at the likes or look at the shares. I like to see how is my people responding? Am I providing something to them that they feel like is, helping them? You know what I mean? Because if I can get that back, then I'm okay with that, because I just want to make sure I am doing something that is still allowing you to continue to grow. You know what I mean? I don't want to hinder nobody. I want you to know that your potential is there. You know what I mean? I want you to know that your skills and your mindset and your understanding is already there. And if I'm capable of doing that, and someone says, okay, I like that, that was, and I might get a message or email, and then that's me. I'm cool with that, because that lets me know that I have done, my community a good deed, or I've done myself a good receive, to where I can not only see myself flourish, but I can also see my community flourish as well. So hey, the licensures ain't the biggest idea. My biggest idea is just to make sure that people know that they have already what they need inside of them to move forward and continue to be unique.
So let's transition over to your work in community engagement.
Yes.
So what does community mean to you?
Good question. I like community. So community means to me just being able to, take some time and invest in your community in any possible way. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter what it is. Again, like I said earlier, you could add, speaking to your neighbors as a community, going in the store and you seeing people, you don't have to speak to everybody, but just having that move of engagement, that is a community. That is you being able to do something in your community that is not only going to inspire you, but it's going to also as well. Because do you know how many people that has said hey to me, and my mood just, I might have got them sleepy and walking out the car and don't feel like doing nothing that morning. But when somebody say hey, I wake up, oh hey, how you doing? Get your best voice on, how you doing? And then hey, it'll set my whole mood for the day. I'm good. I'm speaking to people all day from that first hello I got. So again, your energy is real. It is absolutely real. So just being able to, influence your community. Again, it don't matter how big it is, but we just want to make sure you're focusing on the small things that you can do in your community. You can write, you can give something away free, you can go cut somebody's yard, you can speak to your neighbor. I have a pear tree in my backyard, and every year I have my neighbors. They come from, I don't know. It seems like the crowd get bigger every year, but
Them pears.
yes, and they love those pears. And they always knock on my door and they ask me first. He said, okay, for them to get in. I'd be like, yes, absolutely. Go ahead and get you something. And so again, the tree grows so many pears. It grows enough for the birds, the squares. And when my neighbors come around every year, they getting them some pears. So again, it's about, how you can invest in your community in a way to where you are still lending that helping hand. Maybe it's through the work that you do. You know what I mean? Maybe it's through your own personal growth. Because even when you're praying for your community, your family, your friends, this is a deed that you're doing. This energy is real. Absolutely. You're giving, you're giving something, and you are expecting, a blessing to be shared amongst your community or your people. So that is, I love that, because this is what's going to allow our community to continue to flourish, continue to understand that moral, continue to respect that ethics, because this is what's going to keep us balanced in this toughness in today's world at best, by remembering that it's okay to have your life, your personal life, and still have a community giving mindset. Okay. And you can give in any area of your life in any way, as long as it is something that brings in that community engagement.
How do you engage with your local community?
Okay, so one of the things I like to do, and again, I'm always speaking, of course. So anytime that my church here have something here, I do love to volunteer whenever I can. Also, there's a one or two community centers here. One of them is called the Rocks, and this is a community center where people of all ages get together and they rock climb. Anytime they're doing something here in the community, I love to go there and participate and make sure if there's anything where my hand can be used, or needed, I don't mind doing what I need to do here to be sure here that everybody is, hey, having a good time. And, and we all always have a good time. Then I'm also a member of the Red Cross here. I've been a member with them for quite some time. It's been a few years here. So I love them, and I do love to go to meetings sometime, and I just learn about disaster awareness, just different things to prepare for. And I still love them because they've always been a big part of my life here as well. Through churches as well, I've always have in my community actually volunteered for here too. There's one Pacific church here in Memphis. It's called the Hope Church, and they actually work with special needs kids. And I've always loved to go there, and every time they have really big events, I will always make sure I'm there. And one of the really cool things, I my family would go with me. They don't ever bug about it. They'll all go with me, and everybody just do their own part. So just being able to kind of make sure that their moral attitude is there. And hey, I love it. So again, community is a big part of my life. And I want to do more, and actually that will come. I will work my way up, but it's not about the more you do for your community. It's about doing something for your community. Like I said, even if you just praying for your community, you know what I mean, because all of our communities can use a good prayer. You know what I mean. Even if you go to a local bookstore and you take in some books that you're no longer reading and giving them to your local bookstore. I mean, anything that encourages that ethical, moral value back into our community is still going to affect our community, no matter seen or not. We're still going to receive that blessing.
So, what initiatives have you led or supported recently?
Repeat that question.
What initiatives have you led or supported recently?
Okay. What initiatives?
Hmm.
Let's see. That's a good question. Well, like I said, there's a lot of things always going on here within my community church. So sometimes if I am called to come forward to do something here in my community, that always allows me to go in and do what I need to do. Also, I used to, I'm an artist as well, where I can, I got some talent. I used to also as well. I led a organization, and this is where I will actually teach children different techniques and different skills about painting and drawing. I probably had a group of about 20 kids, and I would do this absolutely free. And so I've led that for quite some time as well. And Something else that I've done. My kids are, still like in school and stuff. So if there's something here around maintaining that the parents need to do in the school, and maybe there's some work that they don't mind, the parents coming forward about, I will also as well kind of do what I can do here as well to kind of give back to the school system here too.
So, how do you use your platform to uplift others?
So one of the things I like to do here on my platform is kind of offer in or write creative content, and this kind of gives people different tips and different suggestions about different things here, especially about mindfulness. Mindfulness is one of those big things that I absolutely do like to write about. So I do use my platform here. For like a system of empowerment here, you're going to find different types of journals that it's there to inspire you and to motivate you and to actually encourage you. You're going to find a digital journal there. You're going to find so much quality content as well. And I speak about a lot of different things to where there's probably nothing that you cannot find about self-awareness, motivation, and empowerment, and you won't see it on my platform. I try to write about those things that I know that's going to actually be there to help encourage people. If you come to my page, just be ready to be inspired by something, there that I do have to offer for you. So I actually do believe in personal development. I do believe in self-empowerment. So I do love to share and create digital products that kind of introduce that type of incentive to people. And then one of the things that I'm offering right now on netavibes.com, if you go to my page here, I actually have, if you sign up for my newsletter, there is some new content that I've created, and this content is called, it's a journal, a digital journal, and it's called the Glow Up Guide.
Yep.
And yes, yes, it's the Glow Up Guide, and
It's
is
not
there?
mine today.
Yeah, okay, yes. Okay, and yeah, and one thing about this content, when I create this content, now you may have the option, if you have a door on your computer, sometimes you can actually write on them online digital. But a lot of times when I create content so that you can print them out at your own, and you do it how you want to do it, you know what I mean? But yeah, so I just try to create content, and then I am very conscious about how I format things. I really like to format things with intent and potential. So I like to be able to make sure that I have the opportunity to be, very creative, very self-expressive, but just kind of, be authentic about my work. So yeah, I'm very creative when it comes to creating digital products or transformation. You know what I mean? Again, it's to me, every step counts. That's why I feel like when we start small, it's better for us to, what I mean, grow at that pace. And as you get better at it, the bigger your steps come, and
Mhm.
that's absolutely fine, because growth is important for everybody and it stops for nobody. Another thing I want to speak about here too, I'm also a intuitive advisor. And this is where I offer different advice around different aspects, personal growth, motivation, business ideas, whatever it is. I am now offering a free intuitive section as well. If you go to netadvice.com, and if you scroll down, you can send me one email question for free. And once you send me the email question, hey, I respond back to you within 24 to 48 hours. And that is something else that I'm offering to anyone here who actually visit my site. So I do try to stay on top of having some of those free resources as well, to make sure I'm able to give people, you know what I mean? Because again, it's progress over perfection. That's the most important to me. And there's going to always be progress over profits for me as well.
So, what moment of the impact that moved you deeply?
There was a time, there was a community that has always been known to, heavy violence. There's, just a lot of things used to go on here in this community. And this was the community not to go into a ride pass or to drive pass, because everybody was so afraid to, you don't want to get in any trouble. You want to stay away from the drama. One year, me and my auntie, um, she actually come to me, and she was like, I want you to help me out with something. And I was like, what? And she was like, well, I have an idea, and I need you to kind of, just take the lead here on this, and just kind of go around and talk to businesses in the area. I would like to get an event together for the children in this community, and will you help me? And she sat down and she talked to me about it. And I was like, yes, I will. I was actually moved by it. And I was so moved by her idea, just to want to go in this community and do something very powerful and needed. So what she did was, we ended up doing like a trunk and treat. So I went around and I got most of the businesses involved. I spoke to them about what was going on. I handled the donations and things like that. I spoke to local churches in the community. I created the flyers. I created all the content that was needed. I was able to get, everything that was needed to actually host this event. I was able to, speak around, talk to businesses. Yeah, either get a discount or completely free. And
Mhm.
yes, so many people came together just from her idea. It turned to something very big. And she was like, I appreciate all the work you did. You did so much. And I told her, I was just the hands in this. You were the feet. I appreciated her idea. I appreciated her influence there, because it was so many people came out in the community. It was so many people grateful for what had started there. And even businesses came out, and it was businesses calling me when they heard about the event that we were doing. I had people calling me, emailing me, just to want to be a part of it, and we got a chance to put something together very great, and that did affect me absolutely.
So we discussed, in our discussion here prior to the show, where I told you we do Black History 365.
Yes.
And I asked you, I said, who are the most influential person or persons in your life or career?
Yes. Right.
And you mentioned Maya Angelou, Rosa Parks, and Michael Jordan.
Yes.
Can you tell us why are Maya Angelou, Rosa Parks, and Michael Jordan so influential to you?
Absolutely. Okay, I will start here with I'm gonna start here with Rosa Parks first. Um, you know, Rosa Parks, to me, her movement here, um, it just spoke strength to me, and courage. Her being able to actually, stand up for the color of her skin back in those days when it was hard for Black people to stand up and speak about their worth, because of the color of their skin. So me just having the opportunity to learn about her story, her life was actually dedicated to the civil rights movement, and she also as well walked alongside Martin Luther King Jr. So just being able to see that courage among her, and how something, a decision that she made one day turned into something so big that still actually influences and empower the community here right now today. Her story is one of the stories that has always inspired me, absolutely. And Maya Angelou, since a little girl, I've always loved the way that woman spoke. It was just, she was, her, her spirit, when they said people's spirit can shine through their words. Yes, I always felt like that with her. She always felt like somebody here who can touch you, through the core of you. And she always brought a message with everything that she brought life to. She celebrated, perseverance. She also as well celebrated empowerment, and she was a voice of empowerment. She also educated, people, across generations, and her work still affects us right now today. You know what I mean? And I'm talking about everybody. We love Maya Angelou, and she is one of those voices that do carry, that still arise strength, that shows that human spirit within us. And all of these people do, but she is one of those people that actually influenced me from a poetic way, that touched me uniquely spiritually.
Okay, I got a question for you here. That's here in the chat. It's from John Devin Bates. He's from Indianapolis, Indiana.
Absolutely.
John wanted to know, and I guess this question's been for a while, so I apologize, John. I'm just now seeing the question. Um, he wants to know: is there a balance between your personal spiritual growth versus your Christian faith or spiritual faith? And wait a minute, make sure I get this right. And if so, how do you balance the two? And can one put or overemphasize either one? And what can be the effects?
So, and okay, so I'm gonna just go straight into this. So here's the thing. Um, what you want to do is you don't want to put religious over anything, because you're going to always judge something or somebody. So if you are a Christian, you be a Christian. If you are Jehovah Witness, you be a Jehovah Witness, because it is just about balance. It's just about your spiritual growth. No matter where you come from in your culture, it's about spiritual growth. And what brings that balance is your progress of a profession. So you're more focused on your progress that you're making throughout your spiritual experience, no matter what culture or what faith base you have, because faith is what it is, no matter how it is explained. Faith is just what it is. So you just want to make sure that when we're thinking about this progress, and when it comes to personal, business, and spiritual growth, we just want to make sure that we are still focused on progress of a profession. Because when you're focused on progress, when it's time to bring that balance into your work, you will bring that balance, mindfulness. You understand me? When it's time to bring that balance between your personal growth and your professional growth, your business growth, or when it's time to bring that balance between your faith-based knowledge, you're going to know how to do that. Because now what's going to happen is you're going to begin to listen to yourself more. You're going to begin to balance yourself more through that self-understanding, and you're not going to be judgmental about it. You know what I mean? Because once you get to start to judge other people because of their faith or because of their race, and then that means that there's some balance missing there. You got to do something about that, because what you want to be able to do here is you want to be able to make sure that you're understanding that this experience that we're having collectively is still about your personal growth, and that is going to be your progress over anything. So you just want to make sure that you kind of stay balanced in between understanding that this life experience that we are having is still supposed to be no matter if you are at your professional job, no matter if you are at church, it doesn't matter if you are at the Jewish center, it doesn't matter if you're at the school bus or you're at school, you still must understand that this personal life experience that you are having is still your personal growth. So you want to make sure that you are still experiencing progress, because that is what is going to allow you to balance everything in your life, so that you can still remember that you do have time and you do have experience and you do have that uniqueness to still be what we call a human being and still make progress.
Okay, so my next question for you is, what lessons from Maya Angelou's life have shaped your writings?
I mean, when she speaks about some of the things that she's been through and how it's been hard for her, even as a woman, to kind of reach the success that she's reached to, even that she's reached, you know what I mean? Because when we look at women, we have to understand women is some of the most empowering, understanding human beings next to our men. We got to respect that, because as we continue to respect that, what's going to happen is we're going to be able to also as well respect our men, and our men also as well respect our women. So me to be able to read about some of her struggles with coming up, not only just because she was a black woman, but coming up because she was a woman, how she used to talk about how a lot of things was easier for men and it was harder for her because she was a black woman. So those struggles as well, has always as well kind of been, one of those things that I feel like that, as we continue to, move forward as identifying and self-identifying, that balance and the understanding of our personal growth also being a factor here, we're going to start respecting a woman's place as well, when it comes to the advances that we are take, as a woman, because we are making sure that we are also as well seeking that progress over their profession so that we can absolutely get there. Because there's a lot of women that is very talented, very skilled, and very fluid too as well. And we are definitely here for a reason. So we just want to make sure that we understand and respect our gifts as well when it comes within our women. Indeed.
So, how has Rosa Parks' courage influenced your activism?
So it has taught me strength and the understanding and the meaning of it. It has also as well taught me that it's okay to be, self-confident about your own voice. You know what I mean? The way that she spoke, she gave women that door to understand their own voice. And then she allowed us to see that, with that voice, we can identify ourselves, you know, that we do carry the gift of being empowerment as well. So she was one of those people, I believe, for us as men and women who allowed us to, with other people as well, who allow us to know that we have that unique voice that is absolutely meant to be, and it comes with a sense of strength. But she's shown us how to self-identify, with those factors in our life, so that we can be sure that we are rediscovering as well our own uniqueness in our own voice.
So, what does Michael Jordan's discipline and excellence mean to you?
Okay, so Michael Jordan, he's been around for quite a while. But one of the things that I do, I'm actually inspired by, is that his vision here actually goes beyond playing basketball. His influence here, because now he is a influential figure all around the entire world here. And to me, he also as well has a aspiration to inspire individuals, aspiring, sport leaders and even entrepreneurs, to me, you know what I mean? So there's no place to where I don't feel like that he has in some momentum affected, the way how we see branding in today's world. And his brand has reached maybe every community around the world, maybe not all of them, but he has most definitely, his brand is one brand that I can say that has flourished past so many different big names that we would not have expected to flourish, and have to, people who have we would have thought would have surpassed Michael Jordan based on their branding, but based on his influential balance within his aspiration around athletes in community, and when it comes to entrepreneurs everywhere, his brand is almost all around the planet at this point here. So I do like the understanding that his influence is actually impacting our now communities. And I believe that, based on what his brand is doing now, there's the possibilities are, there's some things that I feel like that will still come abroad about his upbringing that would most definitely influence the communities even more within the next 5 to 10 years. So I really do feel like his brand is going to be doing some things and opening some doors, not only for our youth, but for our women as well. So there's going to be some really good things happening around him. And I feel like he's always kind of had a hand in the community, but I know he just started something. But I do feel like, he has a very powerful voice right now to where he can actually influence, our nation here in a very positive aspect here, just off the way he's already started to inspire entrepreneurs and athletes.
Okay, this will be final question. How do you honor their legacies in your work?
So just being myself, you know what I mean? Okay. I feel like, all of these people here that we spoke about here today are individual people that we can identify with because we know that they have their own unique personality of being themselves. You know what I mean? It was no right or wrong way to do anything, but they were just being themselves. So it turned out to be a good thing. You know what I mean? So me having the opportunity to, you know, respect who I am as an individual person, you know what I mean, and then respect my authenticness, you know what I mean. I can't wake up and say, okay, I don't like this, I don't like that, I don't know. I don't think I can do at this point is only continue to be myself, because that's going to make me a stronger point of view. It's going to make me a stronger understanding and being that genuine attitude for myself, because at the end of the day, I know that I am responsible for how I see me. And I feel like, the way they work cooperates here with my work is just, just allow me that it's okay to be who you are. And it's for anybody. It's okay to be who you are. Everybody is uniquely different, yet we all have skills and we all have talents that we can absolutely co-create and make, community, the nation, even the planet a better place. Listen to me, it's so wonderful, the gifts that we do carry as a humanity, but it does come with us absolutely understanding our own authentic voice indeed.
Well, so is there any words of wisdom, encouragement, things you want to let our audience know as to how to connect with you on social media, about your websites, any of those good things that you got for them?
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so for me, I would like for my audience to start here with my site, and that is netavibes.com. So if you go here, the first thing you want to do is sign up for my newsletter, because when you sign up for my newsletter, any digital products that I create and I give them out for free, you want to be the first ones to get those products. Absolutely. Believe me, you do want to be the first one. Then here on my site, when you come down here, again, I am an intuitive advisor. And so you can come here, and if it's your first time booking a session here with me, you can actually send me one free question. It'll come straight to my email, and you will give me between 24 to 48 hours to get a response back to you. And I will go into any advice that I have for you around that question that you are asking for me to kind of go into a little bit detail for. So again, you can reach me. You can sign up for that on my website as well. Now, I am on LinkedIn, so if you want to connect with me, go to my LinkedIn profile. My handle is Netta Vibes as well. I've just started interacting with YouTube, so if you want to, stay updated about the things that I post around my video content here, absolutely. My handle is Netta Vibes as well. I'm also on Instagram here too, and I actually just created a 7-day visual packet to where I go into detail about the law of attraction, how it actually works. And, I just kind of go into quite a few details, and I did 7 particular videos about that, and I posted them all on my Instagram. So you can also as well find me there. And I love medium.com. So if you want to read some of my empowering content, absolutely find me on Medium. .com. I post a lot of things that, again, those questions that we have that we don't know how to ask them, or the things that's been on our mind, and we're trying to put it all together and understand what is this, how is this, why does this work, how does it work, what does this mean, who is God. And again, I don't speak in religious tones. Understand that I don't speak in a religious tone, because I feel like it's everybody free will to grow in the way that they need to grow to reach that area in their life that brings them that higher perspective. But I'm just that point of you understanding your true potential. And another thing, on my blog, netavibes.com/blog. Oh yeah, you want to make sure that you stay, you stay to my content, because my content, I do post a lot of good things. I do also as well give out a lot of free resources throughout my content. So if you want to, kind of stay updated about some of the things that I post in or create, absolutely sign up for my email newsletter. And this is that's where you want to start. Absolutely. And that is the last word that I have for today. Besides, listen, we are absolutely in changing times. You know what I mean? Yet we have to understand that it is very important that we recognize that even the changes that the world and communities are going through, there is still plenty of hope. You understand me? There's still plenty of motivation. There's still plenty of empowerment, because you know why there's still plenty of that? Because everything I just mentioned starts within you. And if you got that, then it's absolutely some good still in the world. Do you understand me? So you keep moving forward, okay? Because again, it's not about falling. The destination is about getting up. That is your destination, getting up. And if you can do that, then you're more than tough. And thank you for having me, Mr. King. I appreciate you.
Well, I thank you for being here. Definitely, you say, Netta vibes, but you definitely got that great positive vibe that I definitely like for the audience to get, because it's that positive reinforcement. It's that building of community that means so much, and that's exactly what we're about here.
Right.
And I definitely want to make sure that we can get you back on the show, because I really appreciate your being here, your energy. We can do an update show on you, and
Yes.
to see where things are going with you as
Absolutely.
you continue to grow.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
and so, but for those of you that are watching on the YouTube channel, uh, I appreciate you for being here. Any of the other channels that are here, I appreciate you all for being here. If you have not yet subscribed, I would appreciate it if you could give us that support And please subscribe and get all the notifications so that every time we do a show, you're able to get the show live. And you're also going to be able to go back and watch all of the previous recorded content and
Yes.
get all of that information and education that our guests are leaving for you. What you guys should have gotten tonight from Netta is that one, community is very, very important. Two, you being who you are as the person you are, as well as the person in the community, and you being that content creator,
Yes.
influencer, whatever you may be, even an entrepreneur, that you have to do what you have to do in order to make things be great for you. But when it comes down to the community, it does not hurt to be engaged in the community, to say hello, to volunteer, or to do whatever's necessary to assist and help to keep that community intact.
Absolutely.
Because when you're building community, believe me, you're building a very, very strong block. Because as I can say, when I was coming up, the community raised the kids. It took that village.
Yes.
We can't let that village leave. We need to keep that village because our communities are being gentrified and taken away as quick as you can ever imagine. So I want to thank you all for watching the show tonight. We will be back tomorrow night with another great show here on America in Black and White, where we will always continue to color these conversations on America's canvas and build community, which is our number one goal. You all have a great evening. Thank you again, Netta. You all have a great evening, and please come back and see us tomorrow